Hello and welcome to the Kids Ministry Toolbox. My name is Kristen Freeman, and if you are new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. My husband Michael and I are the children's ministry directors at our church, and we love finding ways to take big Bible truths and make them accessible to little hearts and minds. We love finding fun, interactive, and hands-on ways to make learning God's Word exciting for children. So today, we're going to be talking about probably one of the favorite things that children have, something that you've probably used at some point during your children's ministry, and we're going to be talking about ways that you can use it to teach children about God's Word. Balloons. So you probably have bought a bag of balloons, you've seen the excitement. Today we're going to be taking that excitement and finding ways that we can use it to actually teach something and to review something about God's Word. So let's go ahead and start off with the very first game. We're going to be bringing you 5 games that you can play with a bag of balloons. So the first game we have is Don't Let It Touch the Ground, right? Everybody's probably played this at some point. How can you use it to teach children about God's Word? If you have been working on a Bible verse, if you've been working on the books of the Bible, if you've been working on the 12 disciples, grab that balloon and have them bat the balloon while saying the books of the Bible. So if they miss the balloon, they're out, but if they get stuck on the books of the Bible, they're out too. See who can make it the farthest. So ready? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings. You get the idea. And so a couple of different ways that you can play this one is one, you can give every child a balloon and let them just kind of self-correct as far as you can, or you could do it as a whole class, like Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, or you can have them stand in a circle and they can bat the balloon. And the first person starts out with Genesis, and then it goes to the second person. And the second person, it can be anybody in that circle. But if you hit the balloon, you have to say the book of the Bible. So it kind of makes it a little bit more challenging, because if you bat it, but you don't know the book of the Bible, you don't want to bat the balloon either. So you want to see how far your class can take it and make it. And as far as going through the books of the Bible, you can also do it with the memory verse. If you've been working on it, go from word to word. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And that's how you can kind of teach that review game like that. And they want to keep it off the ground, but they also want to use it to be able to review God's Word. So you could do it with disciples. You could do it with books of the Bible. You can do it with memory verses. You could even do it with a Bible trivia question. Call out a Bible trivia question. They're batting it, and they're trying to see who's going to be able to bat the ball and answer it. So, for example, who defeated Goliath? David. Who was thrown into a den of lions? Daniel. You want to be able to make sure that they're able to do both things. And that kind of makes it a little bit more challenging, but also makes it a lot more fun for them as well. A second way to use your balloon is a balloon relay. So again, there's a few different ways of doing this. First thing you want to do is to take your class, split them in half, line them up into 2 rows. And then you want to hand the balloon to the very first person in the line. And then you want to do whatever it is that you're reviewing. Is it a memory verse? You want to start with the first word of the memory verse or the reference. If it's books of the Bible, you'll start with Genesis. If it's a trivia question, you'll call out the first question. That person has to get it correct and then pass it back to the next person behind them. And then that person has to get their question or their book of the Bible or whatever it is correct in order to pass it back. And the first team to get their balloon all the way to the end of the line is the winner. This is a really fun way to get the whole class involved and to also make sure that, kids are working together. They are a team, and so it's not quite as individual, which I really love. A third Bible game. This one is for Bible memory or for books of the Bible, but you would need a lot of balloons for books of the Bible. So for a Bible verse, you're going to take your bag of balloons and a Sharpie, and you're going to write the words of your memory verse on the balloons. And then once you have scattered them all out, you're going to say go, and the kids are going to scatter out. They're going to each get a balloon, and then they have to put them in order. So for example, let's go with our Genesis 1:1. You would write Genesis 1:1 on a balloon, and then you would write in, the on a balloon, beginning on a balloon, and so forth and so on. And you would scatter those balloons all across the floor. When you say go, kids are going to run. One's going to have an in, one's going to have a the, one's going to have a beginning, one's going to have a God. And they're going to try to work together to unscramble those and hold up their balloon in the right order. And so that's helping them to be able to be aware, fill in those Bible verse blanks, and also to make sure that they actually really know it. It's a really good way for helping them to be very hands-on with God's Word. All right, a third one, and this is a super fun one, especially if you have older kids. This one doesn't work as great with like 4s, 5s, and even kind of first grade. But once you get to 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, even 2nd to a degree, this one is really fun. And that is Bible categories, but with a balloon. So what you're going to do is you're going to call out a Bible category. People of the Bible, or if you want to make it even harder, men of the Bible or women of the Bible. And you're going to bat it, and you could even split it into heroes of the Bible. So that way you're not getting, some of the ones that maybe like Goliath. You want to keep it as concise or as broad as you choose. So let's go with women of the Bible. Let's make Ruth, Esther, Mary, and they're going to be batting that balloon back and forth. And so when the balloon comes to you, then you have to say it. You could also, if it's too confusing or if your space is too small to kind of bat the balloon, you could also blow the balloon up and pass it around in a circle. So like hot potato style. And if you don't know it when it gets to be your turn, or if you miss the balloon, or if it hits the ground, either you can do it 2 ways. You can do, the whole team's out. We're going to start again. Here's how far we made it. Here's how many points you guys got, in that round. Or you can do elimination, last man standing, depending on how competitive you want to make it. So that's another really fun one. All right, the next one is Bible volleyball. So if you have a concept that you've been learning, or even a Bible trivia question, this is a great one. You're going to have split the line down the middle. I like to use painter's tape as a great way to pull it up off the carpet. So you're going to have one team start with this, and then either with the books of the Bible or a Bible trivia question, they're going to answer the question and then bat it to the other side. You're going to either call out the next Bible trivia question, or they're going to say the next book of the Bible. So this one works really good with books of the Bible or memory verse, where it could just be consistent, but you can do it with Bible trivia as well. So Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and they're going to be batting it back and forth and see how far they can get it before the balloon hits the ground. It's going to consistently practice those skills. You can do this in teams of 2. So like one person on the side, one person on the side, or you can do a whole group, half and half, and they're working together, and only somebody from each side has to call it out. If you have that child who is the one who knows all the answers and they're very prepped and they're very ready, and you really want to make it more challenging, they can answer, and then they have to sit out the next question. So if they say Exodus, they can't say Leviticus. They have to wait a turn before they go to the next one. That's a great way of keeping everybody involved. And then the last one that we're going to talk about today is Bible relay. So the Bible relay is not the one where you pass it over your head. There's 2 different versions of this. This one's like an actual run across the room. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a line of balloons. And when you're going to have a starting line of painter's tape and a line of balloons. You're going to call out a question. And somebody you're going to have them lined up on both, in both lines. And so when you say, you're going to call out a question. So let's go with, on what day of creation did God make man and woman? Go. And they're going to run, and the first person to grab a balloon gets to answer the question. If they answer it correctly, they bring that balloon back to their team. If they don't answer it correctly, they have to put it back. The other team gets a chance to steal it and take that balloon back. And so it's getting them involved, and the first team to collect so many balloons, or at the end of your time, whoever has the most balloons, is the winner of that relay. So these are really fun ways to get kids up, get them moving, get them engaged with one of their favorite substances that they love on planet Earth. And it helps them to find ways to connect with God's word while also being hands-on and interactive, and it makes it a lot more fun. And so hopefully these were fun, they were helpful. You can jot a couple of them down, bring them to your kids' ministry. I would love to know in the comments which one was your favorite. And as always, safety first. So I will leave this little reminder at the end. Do make sure that you check for latex allergies if you're going to be using balloons, because a lot of balloons are made of latex. And while latex allergies is not one of the most common, it is very severe. So you do want to make sure you check for that before you just, grab the balloons. But hopefully this was fun and helpful, and I will see you next time. Until then, I hope that God blesses you and your ministry as we all strive together to teach the next generation about Him. Goodbye.